Just because you set a goal, if there's no opportunity to try to do that and you haven't worked to try to create that opportunity, you're not really allowing them the opportunity to try to be successful at that. So you have to make sure that when you're managing or coaching someone and you're setting those expectations, that you're ensuring that the opportunity to try to meet that goal or expectation is attainable, is there.
Great leaders ask the question, what's it like to be on the other side of me? And as Aimee joins us today, notice how clear she is on her why so that she can bear almost any how.
That's what I was looking for when I came to BCD Travel, was find a company that I can build a career, not just have a job.
I'm Chika Eloy, and this is a conversation designed for BCD people with BCD people. On this show, we're running through the diverse cultures of talent at BCD Travel, and we're showcasing our most confident self-colleagues. So come on, let's go have some fun as we explore the different functions, spaces, faces, and the complexities across our world of BCD. Well, happy day and welcome to this week's episode. I am standing here in the presence of greatness. Miss Aimee, welcome to today's podcast.
Thank you very much.
And before we jump into what you do, I had this experience this weekend that I wanted to get your hit on, Aimee. Probably like a lot of the listeners that walk day to day, when you run into strangers, you start to talk about what you do, and a stranger looked at me with the blank stare and said, BCD, what is BCD? So, Aimee, if that ever happened to you, where a stranger stops you on a street and says, BCD Travel, Corporate Travel Management Company, I don't get it, how do you usually reframe that in layman's terms?
How I typically respond to that is I start off with just the standard of BCD Travel is a corporate travel management company, which really in layman's terms means they organize for any corporate company out there their travel program. So for their employees, when they're looking to book travel for different meetings or conferences or what have you, BCD manages that part of their program for them.
I love it, and I always love hearing other people's versions of my pitch as well. So thank you, Aimee. And as we step into the wonderful world of BCD, why don't you take a second, introduce yourself, and what role do you hold in the capacity of your work at BCD?
Sure. So I'm Director of Product Development for Contact Center Solutions. And so what that means is I'm really responsible for the support and maintenance of our contact center technologies, such as COMD, which is our agent desktop and contact distribution tool, and our speech IVR technology. So I also look for innovative ways, whether through technologies or practices, that help design and drive efficiencies in our operations as well as improve our customer journey.
You know, Aimee, this is your captain speaking. I'm feeling a little bit of turbulence here because you used a number of different phrases and acronyms that I have no clue what you're talking about. So maybe come with me up to the cockpit. Let's bring this up about 30,000 feet. You said contact sensor solutions, and then you said, was it applications?
Yeah, technologies.
Okay.
So different. So for example, the COMD tool, which is the agent desktop. So that's a tool that the agents have, our travel consultants, on their computer that helps with the delivery of different contacts, whether it's voice, email, or chat.
Got it.
So that when that comes to them, they get what we call a toast, a pop-up screen that gives them varying degrees of information. Now that is actually integrated with another term that I used, our speech IVR technology.
Yes.
So when somebody calls into their travel program through whatever means, let's say they're calling in, then we're able to identify that caller, determine why they're calling, and provide information from their profile as well as possibly a trip that they're on, and give that to the agent on their desktop.
That's fantastic. Where are you based?
I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, you're in Kansas City, Missouri. And how big is your contact solutions team? Is it just there in Kansas, or are you global?
Well, we're global, so Contact Center Solutions as a whole is made up of 71 employees
Woo.
across the globe. We support around 94 locations globally in offices in the US, Canada, Brazil, EMEA, UK and Ireland, Costa Rica, India,
Wow.
just
So
to name
shout
a
out
few. Yeah.
to all of our listeners and colleagues from those different locations. I'm sure they all know different contact center solution people within their offices. Wow, Amy, that's
Yeah.
cool. So
Yeah.
what maybe we can move into with all of the technologies and what you oversee there, what do you find is the most challenging aspect of your role?
So I would probably say the most challenging thing is just really understanding the complexity of our customers' needs and then accommodating for different regional differences, all but while trying to maintain a global standard. So we're trying to be as consistent as we can,
Hmm.
but when you have to take into account the different customer needs and the regional differences, sometimes that becomes challenging. So you have to really understand what those needs are and find and understand the goal, what you're trying to achieve, and trying to marry the two
Do,
and say one thing may work for one region but not necessarily another. And you have to understand why that is and how to kind of still meet the same goal but by possibly going down a different path.
and we've had a couple of guests on the podcast here where they've spoken to a very similar, and even in my role, I deal with that too, where I'm trying to look at the customer and then I'm trying to look at the regional and cultural differences. How do you solve that? Do you talk directly with the customer? How do you find out the information you need to be successful at what you do?
Right. Well, so through our speech IVR technology, I have had a lot of interaction directly with the customer. But when you start getting into other products and services we offer, like our workforce management or for our ComD tools and things of that nature, you're more on the operational side. So then it's not always directly the customer themselves.
Right.
It's more our internal customer of the operations. And that's where those regional differences and operational practices can sometimes come into play. So it's more how the operations itself manages their business versus the customer themselves.
So, Amy, you said I think it was 71 people are in your organization. Do you have direct
Uh-huh.
reports?
I do. I have 5.
Ooh, good. Well, let's unpack for a second then your management of people, because that's part of this podcast too. Just understanding that people's a large part of what we do at BCD. What are some of the challenges and or your highlight reels of working with people this year?
Great. Well, I really haven't run into too many challenges, but really some of the highlights is just seeing the teamwork across our group. So even though we're really small, the teamwork is just amazing. And so everybody's so supportive. And I hope that comes from the way that I try to manage. And the way I try to manage is by building strong relationships, because I really try to emphasize with the team that no one is more important than the other, that
Okay.
if we're all working together, that's when we're going to be most successful.
And so relationship based management there you're saying is turning into teamwork. Do
Yeah.
you here's a technical question, because we've been having a debate on this in our team. Do you email people after 5 p.m. and before 6 a.m. ever?
Oh, that's a good question. I very rarely try not to. I mean, I almost always try not to.
And what is your
Um,
why behind that?
the only reason why I would or why I wouldn't, I guess.
Why you would or why you wouldn't? I don't know. You tell me.
So the only reason why I would is if it's like an urgent situation, and so maybe it's something I want to make sure they get first thing the next morning.
Got it.
The reason why I wouldn't is because I do heavily believe in work-life balance. So, the same way I wouldn't want my superiors or my peers emailing me after hours, unless it's something urgent. And I think that that's pretty consistent among all of our contact center solutions. I haven't really experienced otherwise.
That's great. And how do you find, now that you've talked through the relationship style of management, how do you feel about the development of your folks, or how do you intentionally develop your folks?
I really try to focus on here are some of the successes that we have, and let's keep driving those and maybe share those among the team, and then look for areas of opportunity for improvement, understanding what their goal is and what maybe my goal is or my expectation of them, and trying to marry the two and giving, really just some kind of realistic action steps that they can achieve and we can work towards together, and creating opportunities for them to do that. Because just because you set a goal, if there's no opportunity to try to do that and you haven't worked to try to create that opportunity, you're not really allowing them the opportunity to try to be successful at that. So you have to make sure that when you're managing or coaching someone and you're setting those expectations, that you're ensuring that the opportunity to try to meet that goal or expectation is attainable, is there.
Aimee, what was one of the now that you've been in management for some time, what's been some of the best advice you've been given that you've been able to implement as a manager?
Yeah, so I was once in a management program, and we did one of these activities called What's It Like to Be on the Other Side of Me? And one of my peers had mentioned to me, hey, you are so smart and quick to be able to problem solve, and that's one of the great things that he took from me. But he said one of the things or challenges or opportunities you have is understanding not everybody else gets to the result that you do at the same pace. And I never really had thought about that before, that taking into really consideration that I may be getting to the results faster than other people. So how do I help those other people get there? And that I found was so eye-opening and has helped me be more self-aware that when we are faced with a problem, and I think I have, because I may not always be right, but when I think I have come to the resolution or the understanding of what's causing the problem, is then looking to whoever I'm around and helping them get there, and doing it in a manner that I'm kind of help coaching them on how I got there.
Yeah. So you're teaching them the road you're walking down and helping them open their eyes to that. That's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought that was it was just really eye-opening for me.
So, Aimee, let me take the page back to contact center solutions for a second. What are you most looking forward to strategically, visioneering here over the next few years in your role?
Really, I try to stay focused on the customer journey and operational efficiencies. And those really then kind of drive me towards what technologies and solutions are going to help in those areas. And what's really interesting is when you look at the customer journey, it's always trending, it's always moving forward. And so you have to really stay up on the what's new, like the Snapchats and chat technologies and different ways and methods for a customer to interact with us. And so I always try to stay looking forward and where is that going? And does it make sense for us, right? Because
that's a really good point. Yeah. Let me finish. Let me finish your thought there, because that stopped me in my tracks. It's only really important if that's where we're going as a company, right?
Yes.
Not just because it's the hip thing in Harvard Business Review or on the social media circuit.
Exactly.
So, keep finishing that thought.
I mean, chat and ChatBox and all these different things, and whether it's Snapchat or things of that nature, may be really cool. But then you have to think, is that really a way that our travelers or our arrangers are really going to connect to us?
Because who's Snapchat cool to? Is it our travelers, right? Or is it our travelers?
Yeah, exactly. So you just have to really kind of keep your head focused on that, as far as, these are the new cool technologies, but does it make sense for us? Do we really think that our travelers and our arrangers are going to connect with us through that means?
All right, Aimee, last question. If I was a fresh face that was looking to, contact center solutions was something that was appealing to me, what would you expect from me joining your team?
Someone who really is good and innovative at thinking outside the box and coming up with creative ways that are simple, efficient, and effective for problem solving.
Bingo. Thank you, Aimee Allard. And I've appreciated your time today, and thank you for giving us a little peek into your world and your world of BCD. And I hope right now that you can roll up your sleeves and get ready, because we've been looking forward to this speed round since we got on the phone together.
I know.
Are you ready for the speed round?
I am.
I throw 5 rapid questions at you, and you do your best to answer as quick as possible. Here we go.
Let's go.
Question number 1, Aimee. When was the last time that you stayed up past 1 o'clock in the morning?
Okay, so you're speaking to someone who has 2 teenagers in the house, so that is a daily occurrence.
Daily occurrence. Question number 2. What food do you not eat?
Tomatoes. I
Really?
don't like tomatoes,
Really?
yeah.
So you're like
Never
a
have.
BT, not a BLT. You're a BL.
Exactly,
with no T.
yes.
That's funny. All right. Question number 3, Aimee. When you fly on a plane, do you or do you not wear a neck pillow?
I used to, but I don't like them, so no, don't.
Very good. New York or Los Angeles? Question number 4. New York or Los Angeles?
Oh, I love the beach, but I like the excitement of the city. I'm going to have to say New York.
New York today, New York, New York. And then the 5th question, and the favorite question we like to ask at the end of every one of these podcasts, is what do you love most about working at BCD?
Oh, gosh. Just the people. When I came to BCD Travel, I was looking for a company to have a career with, not just a job, a career with. And I found that with BCD Travel because of the people. I love everybody I work with. I love what I do. And if you don't have the people and the relationships, I mean, I say it over and over again, the relationships are the key to everything, then it's just not, it's just a job. But this is a career, and I love it here.
Aimee Allard, ladies and gentlemen, I will include all of your notes and contact information at the bottom of this podcast. We appreciate again your time today, and for all of our listeners, feel free to throw in your suggestions of people just like Aimee, rock stars around the world that you'd love to see spotlighted on A World of BCD, and we can't wait to see you for next week's episode. Cheers.